What's up, guys? My name is Roberto, and I help spiritually minded entrepreneurs take authority over their health and wealth by helping them take authority of their most powerful asset, which is their mind. In this series of videos, we're talking about how to get an idea into its physical form, whether it's a book, a course, a service, business, or a brick and mortar business, whatever the case may be. I believe if you use some of those principles or some of the things that we talk about in here, you should be able to make it happen. So, if you just stumbled upon these videos, by the way, it would be best if you go back to the first video, the part one, because every video builds on top of the next one. This specific video is still a part of the product creation video because I made a product creation for someone that wants to either start a book, a course, a service style business, and now this one is specifically for a brick and mortar business. So the brick and mortar business, it's a lot harder to do because there's a lot more money involved. There's a lot more overhead involved. So say, for instance, you want to start a coffee shop or a smoothie and coffee shop or something like that. It's going to take a lot more because you are going to be there most of the time at the start. And to start it, before you even open the doors, you're going to have to put some capital into it. If not, that's if somebody doesn't invest into your company or something like that. So all in all. And the second thing that I told you about is the first one was you have to get rid of the scarcity and the poverty mentality. The second thing that I talked about was you have to get educated and research a ton to be able to find out what it is that you need to get your business or your idea into being, like basically studying other people that have done what you've done before. Because there's nothing new under the sun. There's probably somebody that has done something like what you are wanting to do, or at least similar to what you are wanting to do. So by then, you should have researched about how much money approximately other people in your area have needed to get that business started. So if it's a brick and mortar business, say you're wanting to start a coffee shop, right? You're going to need the money before you open the doors. You're going to need some working capitals while you are open, and you're also going to need some extra capital for marketing purposes. So it's going to look like a little bit like this. Before you open a business, say you already have all the things that we talked about in the other videos, right? You've got the model, you've got it all ready to go. But then now it's time to actually open the doors. So before you open the doors, what do you need to do? You need to go and look for a space. Something that is going to work well for the thing that you want to do, whether it's a gym, a coffee shop. It'll work for any of these principles. However, depending on what you want to do, a specific area might work better than the other one. But my theory is that if people know about you, the location might not matter as much as long as people are willing to drive because they want to specifically work with you. So then you want to look for a place that is going to work for your budget, whatever it is that you have come up with. So let's just say that you want to start a coffee shop or a gym or whatever. And you know, based on the research that you've done, that in your area, before you even open the doors, you're going to have to come up with about $50,000. Now, what happens is once you started the business, whatever that business is, you want to get your community knowing. You want to let them know what you're doing. This is something that I should have done before I opened our brick and mortar business. We have a coffee shop, as you can see. This is something that I should have done to get people interested in our vision so that before our doors were even open, we already had business. Now, I personally bought into another business that was already here, so there was already a system business. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't do that. But the right way to do it is before you even open the doors is see what you can do beforehand. For example, if you want to start a coffee shop, if I were you, I would start doing something at home. Now that may sound weird, but it doesn't really. Because think about it. Say that you put out a video on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram telling people, I'm starting a coffee shop. I'm starting on the first step of my business. And right now I am making coffee from home. One of the things that I am doing is I'm delivering every Monday to these businesses, every Tuesday to these businesses. I will bring it to your door. You make an order and I will deliver it to your business, right? So now you're getting your name out into the community. You may not make as much as if they were actually coming because you're actually driving and other things, but at the same time, you're not having to pay overhead or anything like that. Say you want to start a gym, right? So right before even opening the gym, maybe work at being a personal trainer on an existing gym so that people in the community know that you're a personal trainer. Or before you even open the doors as a personal trainer, you start a boot camp outside, letting people know I am working towards starting a gym. And my goal is to have a boot camp that has 40 to 50 people coming in recurring through my boot camp so that I have more than enough money to be able to open up a gym. So now people know that they're part of a bigger goal, a bigger idea, right? And they might want to be a part of it more because they know that you're working towards something. We have this thing where when we know that we're part of something that is greater than what we're already doing, we tend to want to do or be a part of that. So if you tell people that that's what you're working on, they're going to want to support whatever it is that you're doing. So say it takes $50,000, right? And right now you can start with something from home, some type of service from home. Now, if it's liquor or something like that, you probably wouldn't be able to do that. But say it's a clothing line, a gym, or a coffee shop, there's things that you can do from home. You would just have to verify with your Department of Health on what things will be allowable that you can do from home. So if you start something like that, you would be able to then build enough, maybe not even enough, but something like your name out into the community to get it out there. Now, a lot of the things that I'm telling you right now are things that might work in your area, things that might not work in your area. But the good thing is that you have a starting point of what you're wanting to do. You need to earn $50,000 or save up $50,000 or something like that. So what I would do is I would figure out what it is that you can do to build up to $50,000 in a short amount of time, whether it's 6 months or 3 months or something like that, letting people know I'm providing this service. I'm providing this. I'm providing this. I'm raising $50,000 through this service that I'm providing so that I can open up a coffee shop that I'm going to open later on in 2023 or something like that. But you have to figure out what that service is. Maybe you're selling t-shirts. Maybe that's what you have to come up with and become resourceful with. Now, one of the things that we do is we help our clients at our coaching company figure out what are some of those things that they can do personally according to the skill sets that they have. But right now, this is time for you to become resourceful because as an entrepreneur, the first thing you have to do and be is resourceful. You have to be resourceful. So now let's say that you figure out a way to make that much money, $50K. Now this money, once you figure it out, you looked at 3 different spots that could be potential good spots for your business. You've already called them and let them know, I have an idea of this is the kind of business that I want to start. You know what the rent is going to be, and you know what the time commitment is going to be, whether it's a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract or whatever that is, right? So then you get a hold of this money, whether it's 20, 30, 50 grand, whatever it is, and then you start that, you get the lease. Now these people, they're going to want to ask you for a proof of funds because they're going to want to know that if you don't have enough business in month 1, can you still pay the rent for the next few months? They're gonna ask you for a proof of funds. That's why you have to, and you're gonna need a little bit more capital if you want to start a brick and mortar business. So if that's what you want to do, say you pick the spot, right? You pick the spot and then you sign the lease. Now it's go time. Before you even sign the lease, what you want to do is you want to start blasting on your Instagram and your Facebook what you're doing. Hey guys, guess what? Through the service that we were providing by selling t-shirts, we were able to raise $50,000. And now this next weekend, we're signing our lease on the building that we actually wanted. I would love for you guys to follow our journey because we're thinking that we're going to open for business in 2 months. So be on the lookout for the grand opening. So what are you doing? You're creating noise out there. You're letting people know what you're going to do. Now, once again, this is something that I should have done when we opened our brick and mortar business, but we didn't. And so one of the things that we're working on doing is doing a grand opening by letting people know what we're doing, right? Because what we did is we bought into an existing business, we bought it, and we basically revamped it and put our own twist into it. Not really our own twist, but we put our own mojo into it. So then you then want to look at the build out most often. If the place is not suitable for what you need to do, you may need to do a build out. And depending on how intricate your build out is for that coffee shop or for that gym, you're going to probably spend anywhere between 5 to 10 grand. So you probably signed up a lease, and maybe they asked you for a down payment. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they asked you for first months and last months. What I would do if I were you, I would negotiate with them by letting them know I can only do first months, but I'll do a 3-year contract. Here's my proof of funds of what I have. That way, you can utilize most of the money that you have as a reserve or working capital. So then you get that lease, you've got the spot, and you say, well, I'm going to need a wall here. It already has a bathroom, so we're good on that. I'm going to need a sink here. It's probably going to cost me about $5,000 or $10,000 to do that. So then what you want to do is you want to contract a general contractor in town, get several estimates, and try to go for the best quality, but also for something that's affordable. You may not want to go all the way over here, but you also don't want to go for the cheapest one. You may want to stay somewhere in the middle. So when it comes to that, then after doing the build out, you're going to want to do all of the things that set your business apart. The branding, the furniture, the lobby, all of those things. And you want to let everybody know in your social media what's going on so that everybody's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, blah, 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 right? So then you finish your build out, you finish the things that the design and all the things that you want to do. And then after that, you set a grand opening date, whether it's a month out, and then you begin to reach out to vendors that do similar things or things that go symbiotic with the type of business that you're doing. And you try and get as many vendors as you can to your grand opening. You want to make it fun. You want to make it loud. You want to make it like it's this big thing, right? In the community. You want to deliver as many flyers. Try and get as many friends as possible to deliver as many flyers as possible all over town. If I were you, I would literally flyer like every single car around like within a 2 to 3 block radius or something. For the 1 month before you do the grand reopening, what I would do is I would do flyering as much as possible, create a cool post with a video talking about the things that you're doing, and then boost that post on Facebook or Instagram. You might want to look at the algorithm though before you do that to make sure that it actually gets the most eyeballs seeing it, right? So once you do that, now you've got the business, right? You've got the idea, you've got the grand reopening, you've got people in here. Once you got people in here on your grand reopening, you then want to deliver on what you say you were going to do. If it's the best coffee shop in town, you want to deliver on that. So what does that mean? That means that before you even open the doors, you spend time becoming the best barista. What did that mean? That meant that maybe you had to go and get a job at a local coffee shop so that you knew how to start coffee, how to make coffee. Or maybe you already have an espresso machine at home and you've been practicing every day how to do coffee art and all of those things. What did it mean if you wanted to start a gym? Maybe you needed to become a personal trainer somewhere else and be an employee for somebody else, right? Whatever that is, you have to get some of that experience first. Now, the reason why the brick and mortar model is a little bit harder is because there's more overhead. It requires the most work and it requires the most capital. So you want to make sure that you become diligent and you look at somebody that has already done it so that you don't put yourself in a bad situation. Because if you put yourself in a bad situation and your landlord, like if you fall behind on your rent, your landlord, if you can't pay that rent, you already ran out of funds, like your landlord might make you file for bankruptcy if you can't pay the rent. So you have to become diligent on the stuff that you need to do, right? So if you need specific help on some of the stuff we're talking about, one of the things that we do in our company, our coaching company, is we have our coffee shop here, which is a smoothie and coffee shop business. But we also run our coaching company out of these shops where we basically bring people in. If they need to do a session or an onboarding session face to face, we meet them at our shops here. So some of the things that we help them do is help them know how to open one of these in where they live, but also offer our coaching services in there, in that shop as well. Those are some of the things that we do. If you want more information about that, we'd love to get in touch with you. So that's what you want to do. You want to become very diligent, very, very diligent. If you want to open a brick and mortar business, you're probably going to have to find somebody that has already done it. I don't suggest you go into it alone. I don't necessarily mean getting partners. What I mean by that is getting good counsel, because it takes a lot of work. Trust me. When we first started this specific business, the brick and mortar business that we have, I had 3 people at once. And I thought, I mean, I'm believing that business is going to be booming. It's going to be awesome. Well, I was paying way too much on payroll. And, I had to then let a couple of them go. So then I learned that if I don't have a culture built into this thing, or a branding built into this, like what sets us apart, then it's just any other type of business, right? So there's a lot of things that even we are restructuring, we're redoing every now and then. That's why the brick and mortar model, it's a little bit harder, but it's not impossible. If you apply yourself and you do some of the things that I talked about, I believe that you can start a brick and mortar business in less than 12 months if you really apply yourself and if you really believe that you can do it, but if you're willing to go out there and put the work. Okay? See you in the next video. Let's do it.